Happy Monday, Moldies. So great to see you guys. And on a Monday, I told myself that this was going to be the first of many Monday, well, I normally say Monday morning musings for Moldies, but it's Monday afternoon. So welcome. I'm joining you from Austin. I am blessed to be going to one of my favorite functional conferences this week. It's the end of the week. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So Hubs and I decided to come down a little bit earlier. And then do you believe this shitstorm of weather we're having? So we come here to stay warm and get sunshine. And my mom texts me that it's 71 and sunny in Chicago. Well, it was 78 and cloudy here today. So that's the funny little twist on our journey. But we are here. I'm seeing patients virtually Monday through Wednesday and loving on helping more Moldies heal. But wanted to talk a little bit more about oxalates. You guys who had tuned in last week, I talked about how I think that oxalates and just overall inflammation and mold exposure all combined into the perfect dilemma of me having a spontaneous herniation of a disc in my back last Sunday evening. So still recovering, still had a great session with my chiropractor. But like I said, sometimes that can actually precipitate more oxalates because of the way they're stored. And if you guys have read Sally Norton's Toxic Superfoods book, I feel like I could read it 100 more times. I've read it. We've listened to it, multiple times on drives. Every time I listen to it, I learn more. And the thing about this is such new cutting edge stuff that there just isn't a whole lot of consensus, right? You can't look in 4 different sites and have them line up. Just like with anything, with mold, with Lyme, with things we kind of want to push under the cover and don't want to address, it's also nebulous. So the way I look at it is it's really personal. It's really going to be your personal journey. If you decide to do this and you decide to start digging in and going more carnivore based, more low, obviously, in terms of oxalate exposure, vegetable exposure, all of that, I completely understand. Like I've said in previous videos, Hubs and I don't do things well, like decreasing, small amounts. But that being said, we all also have slip ups, so we eat very, we believe 90-10. So we eat very healthy the majority of the time. We try and do low oxalates. We stay away from gluten. We stay away from refined foods. If we do anything, we eat a lot of good food, we'll eat a bigger portion. But an example is last night we landed in Houston. We had to do the 3-hour drive to Austin. We got here, got our stuff settled in the Airbnb, and then we had to go find food. So we went to a cute little taco stand, right? And got a taco, or a burrito, I'm sorry. And as I took the second bite, I'm like, there's beans in here, right? Toxic superfood, that is super high in oxalates. How is that going to manifest? And I wasn't so upset that I had it because I'm in Austin, we're at, Mexican food capital. It's amazing, great vibe. We're enjoying it. I was more upset with myself for number one, not bringing any kind of digestive enzyme and not bringing any kind of binder, So how long was it going to be in between when I ingested those beans and when I got home to take magnesium, potassium, and calcium oxide to help bind? So when we look at things that I think are the biggest pitfalls, you guys are all healthy. You have done the things, you've, done the AIP diet, you've done this, you've done that, you've removed things, you've added them back in. It's so confusing. But what I find are the hardest are things that I've always considered to be safe. So whether that be vegetables, in leafy greens, doing, a spinach juice cleanse, or, listening to the medical medium and doing a celery cleanse. If you're sensitive to oxalates, which we're guessing at least 90% of people are, that's going to be terrible for you. All of those super potent oxalates are going to go right to the site of wherever you're injured and give you a potent inflammatory response. So I always thought that was healthy. In fact, I did a juice cleanse for 3 months a few years ago and I felt terrible. I went plant-based for 2 years, a few years ago, 2 or 3 years, felt terrible. You know, looking back on it, I was increasing my oxalate load so significantly on top of the exposure with mold. That's probably what did a double doozy to my system. So now when I'm in doubt, I keep it out unless I'm purposely going to do something for fun. Like an example is if I'm out and I'm purposely going to have a piece of chocolate cake, I know I'm getting a double dose, right? I'm getting chocolate is a high oxalate and gluten is high oxalate, right? If I'm going to go and have a Reese's cup, that's going to be a double doozy, right? Peanut butter, high in oxalates, chocolate, high in oxalates. For Hubs and I think the hardest things are potatoes, right? Potatoes have always been a fallback when you don't have anything to fulfill those little bits and make you feel full. You know, like gluten is out, you know, we do corn shells and we do potatoes. So cutting out potatoes was rough. The other thing that's rough is tomatoes. We love tomato sauces. We love, you know, cooking with tomatoes. We love fresh tomatoes, just eating them like apples. I think those are really difficult. I think spinach is hard. I think, you know, not being able to make a huge salad with all of the things is hard. I think nuts are hard because I always use those as a filler whenever I would go on, you know, a low carb. Nuts were always a good high protein that I could go to. So nuts are hard. I've never been huge on legumes. Now that being said, I love a bean in my burrito or in my bowl. So that has been hard. But I definitely have noticed that when I add those in and I have a hit of that, what I used to think of was a mold or a Lyme flare seems more to be associated with that oxalate content. So take a look and see if you notice that when you cut down on oxalates and you start removing them, you have less and less symptoms. So next week, I'll talk a little bit about what I do when I think I have an oxalate flare and what that leads into. So if that resonates with you, I'll talk more about it next week. Keep on healing, my moldies. I love you so much, sending you so much good juju and so much healing. I know that this is a hard journey. Let me say that I'm walking it with you, and every day I learn more about this. Hopefully I'm a couple steps ahead so I can be the best possible leader for you. If you or anyone you know is struggling and they need a little extra coaching, please reach out, send them this video, share this with them, and get them on our schedule so that we can help them. It's a difficult journey, even when you have an amazing team. Sending you guys so much love today and always. I'll talk to you next week.